is it so hard to love you? Why is it so hard to love you? You make it easy, but I make it hard. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I'm Andy Mineo, and we're in Houston for the Uncomfortable Tour with Propaganda, Spazzy Rocket, and myself.
Cool. This is the third night?
Night 3.
Yeah?
Kinks and all.
Nice. I wanted to ask about one of the first singles from your new album, Uncomfortable, is Hear My Heart, which is kind of a unconventional single to go with. And that's about you and your relationship with your sister. What was kind of the decision, what went into the decision to make that like a lead single? Because that's not a typical kind of radio song.
Yeah, well, I mean, really it was the sound and feel of the record. Mm-hmm. It was just like, oh, this feels good, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had a very catchy hook, and we, you know, when we play it for people, they gravitate towards that one. So
yeah,
it just kind of naturally moved up in the running.
How did you present it to her?
Well, you know what? Like, to be honest, I didn't really present it to her. She just got the lyrics.
Yeah.
But I'm actually working on something to present to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, something a little more elaborate. And it was supposed to be out by now. It's just timing of things didn't work out.
Yeah.
But it'll make sense when it happens.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to make that sound ignorant. Anyone that's watching this may not know the song is about your sister being deaf and you're not feeling a distance between communicating with her. She's an older sister, so
right. Yeah, my older sister was born deaf, and I made that song because I never learned sign language. So it's really an apology and a song about, you know, how we can neglect some of the people that are the closest to us.
Yeah. So, and I had a good friend of mine. I think I maybe mentioned it to you on Twitter, that was in Christian hip hop and then went to work with the deaf community. So I got a real insight into that, and he would tell me stories and things that I didn't really even realize about that community either, and how they experience music. And sometimes it's more just a physical presence from the bass or anything like that.
Right,
so I was curious.
Exactly.
Obviously, there's a challenge to present that kind of story to her. So, the song "David's Roof" on your album, it has a interesting title, but it doesn't have any lyrics to it. I was just wondering kind of why you went with that direction, maybe that title for that piece.
Yeah, well, it does have lyrics. It has a Spanish singer
that's
singing, and those lyrics make sense with the title.
Okay.
So it says...
I need to bone up on my Spanish.
Yeah. Prepárame para la guerra, porque conformidad es la caída de reyes. And that's prepare me for the war, because comfort is the fall of kings.
Oh, okay.
And so those lyrics mixed with David's Roof was an ode to the story of David and Bathsheba. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, he's this veteran war king, David, not out at war because he was, you know, staying home in his comfort. And, that got him into all kinds of trouble. You know, he saw Bathsheba from his roof and then brought her up, smashed her, got her pregnant, you know, killed her husband.
Yeah, put him on the front lines.
Bad, right? Because he wasn't where he was supposed to be. He wasn't at war, and that, you know, that's a story of dystopia where comfort was a fall. You know, comfort led to destruction as opposed to peace, which is what we think comfort will do for us most of the time. When being uncomfortable can sometimes be the best place for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What advice do you have for people who have come to that realization that they are too comfortable and they want to get uncomfortable, but how do you bridge that gap, whether it's in your faith walk or your relationship with your wife or anything like that?
Yeah. I think it's different for every person.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's thinking and considering where you might need to shake things up. So when I feel myself getting apathetic towards a certain area, that's the area that I want to hone in on, you know? So when I'm like, man, I haven't been doing this thing, you know, with my sneakers, I'm like, for example, I was like, man, I love sneakers and I just buying them up. And then it's like, you know what? Like, I think I'm getting a little too comfortable in this area, like buying this many sneakers. I have so much when so many people have need that I think I need to switch that up. And me and my wife brought it up, and that's when we made the decision to only buy 2 pairs a year. and be able to use the other money to give away and to bless other people. You know, or like if you feel like you're getting apathetic in your faith walk, your faith journey, do something radical. You know what I mean? To inspire that, you know. Same thing in a marriage. If a marriage starts getting lame or worn out, like shoot life into that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's getting uncomfortable. That causes you to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes a sense of self-awareness of and honesty about your own apathy or your own, like areas of growth.
Yeah. And some intentionality, I would imagine. And,
Absolutely.
Even asking for help, I think, from others to kind of prompt you in those areas. So.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the songs on the album has Mac Powell from Third Day as a feature. I was just curious how that came about. Was that kind of from, you guys were on tour together at one time? Yeah.
We were on tour together, and he's just awesome. Like, he's just an awesome dude, and like, it's funny, we're actually like, you know, we're friends, and we would hang out a lot on tour because we just vibed and kicked it.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be more different. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing like country music, older dude, and you know, in a totally different sphere of music. And then me, and we just love each other.
Yeah.
Would have fun. So, you know, that for me, that wasn't like a political move. It wasn't like, ooh, let me try to get a CCM or something.
Yeah.
It was just like, that's my dude, and his voice is awesome.
Yeah,
so let me
like
just throw him on the record, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So earlier this week, or I think last week, you had tweeted about all you wanted in life was to do a collaboration with Corey Red. And I was curious if some headway was made in that. I know somehow I tagged, you probably have run across him before, but at least it started a public conversation about that.
Yeah.
So just kind of was curious about how you first encountered his music, and if you guys, obviously he's up in the same geographic area, if you've run across him before.
First of all, Corey Red is a legend. Let's just put it briefly. He's one of the best rappers I've ever heard in my life. And like everybody I've ever showed his music to, whether they were Christian or not, was just like, this dude's amazing.
Yeah.
So he just is like oozing New York. And I've always just loved that dude, man. He's like, you know, especially my flavor of music, like being from New York.
Yeah.
You know, you've heard a lot of artists who are Christian come mostly from the South and stuff like that, but to hear dudes really getting down, Corey Red and Precise in New York, they had that flavor, and then they also carried that, you know, in their music, that message of like hopefulness and faith. Like that was something I gravitated to early on in my faith walk.
Yeah.
And I just thought they were super dope. Like they're just good artists, you know?
Yeah.
Them and Lavarsier, and I heard them together on like some mixtape some guy gave me, you
Yeah.
know? And he was like, yo, you should check out this music. But yeah, he's kind of, Corey Red is a bit of a ghost.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like
I
he
know.
just kind of like pops up and then he disappears and then I don't know where
Yeah.
I'd love to collab with him, you
Yeah.
know, but it's always like, I don't know if he's gonna end up watching this, but like we have mutual friends and then like, it'd be like, yo, I reached out, I didn't hear nothing, and then, you know, I just don't know where he is. Or I'll see him at a random spot somewhere, and then I turn around and he's gone. It's like magically disappears. He's
Yeah.
just the king of ghost moves.
Yeah.
But I wish you know, follow me on Twitter or something. DM me, dude. Let's do a song,
Yeah.
because you're amazing.
Yeah. I hope that comes about.
Me too.
That'd be nice. Was also curious on your song Vendetta, you've got a line that says, before this voice grow out of reach. And I was curious if that's kind of, obviously has some double meaning, I would think, with your connection to Reach Records. And is that kind of a hint to fans that there may be post-label plans, maybe even like Derek Minor? I know you've got Minor League kind of going. Is that something you've kind of talked through and that maybe fans can expect?
No comment.
Yeah.
No, I'm just playing. Yeah. I want to snatch my generation out of its apathy. I got to do that now before this voice grows out of reach. That lyric wasn't intended to be like, ooh, like a sneak diss, but people kind of like interpreted it that way. What I'm saying is like, I want to, like, while I have the voice of the young people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to help snatch them out of apathy. Because what ends up happening is, as I describe in that song, is Pac did a lot more for me than Barack. Meaning, like, the young and the artistic have the opportunity to influence me more than the older, you know, like
Established,
nicely
yeah.
established people, and that's really what that is about. Like, I want to use my influence now before I get old and out of reach and out of touch, because that just happens.
Yeah.
Like, you get married, you have kids, like another thing, and then all of a sudden you're out of touch with the street. You're out of touch with, you know, because your wife's not gonna have you coming home at 1 a.m. Be like, I was just out hanging on the block, staying in touch. Like, no. So everyone eventually grows out of reach in some capacity. And I want to use my influence now to do something positive. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what that line is about. But as far as post-reach plans, I don't know if I'm ever gonna leave reach. You know, they're like family. So that's why it's, you know, other opportunities like have started to like gather. You know, like other labels obviously showing interest, and they can't talk directly to me because I'm under contract, but they've come at like all the people around my circle to try to get to me, you know, and you know, everybody wants in on someone who can sell records and, you know, in on something that's doing well. But, you know, Reach's family, man, they go above and beyond, and even behind the scenes doing stuff that labels and people don't do. Just Lecrae, even himself, like, on this tour, I'm using his LED panels, which should have cost me probably like $50,000 of rentals.
Yeah.
And we just would have broke the bank and never would have been able to put on the show. And he just was like, I got you. Use them.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just because there's a love for each other, and there's a oneness in mission, you know, where there's like, that stuff don't happen. That stuff don't happen at labels. There's a sense of family there that, you know, as long as the Lord will have me there, I think I'll be there. And I love what we do, what we're about. You know, we got infrastructure stuff. We want to grow, we want to expand, but Reach is dope. I have minor league developing, which is essentially it's a platform that I'm developing to be able to put out artists I like. And that's really it. It's not like a huge mega label or something like that. It's just like, yo, I got a voice, I have resources, I have some finances, I can invest in artists I like, and it's very low risk, it's low maintenance. It's just like, yo, check them out, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're trying to develop that. I think it's a really cool brand, and it's going to give me some more artistic freedom to do side projects, but under a formal title, you know?
Yeah. So, and that's a not an uncommon pattern to see, particularly in hip hop, is that guys come up and bring other people along and kind of start their own thing. If it's Dre and Aftermath and, you know, 50's label and that kind of stuff.
Because you have your own flavors and things that you want to do, and you want to, you know, have the opportunity to see those visions come to fruition.
Yeah. Cool. One thing else, what can people expect on the Uncomfortable tour? You have a narrator of propaganda. That's an interesting title that you don't see a lot of tours use. Yeah,
man, I'm always just trying to like push a little bit further and try to do some unique stuff. I'm really inspired by innovation and like, you know, just doing stuff outside the norm, which sometimes backfires, but sometimes, you know, works well.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to weave in propaganda throughout my set as a narrator in a way that would give a different kind of story arc to the night. And it's a really dope show, man. Like, we're still early on in it, working out the kinks and developing it, but I think it's a really good show. And, you know, people walk away with different things every night. And we got we got a really cool setup, you know. It's a cool visual experience.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hope people check it out.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
For sure.